to our board for helping to get everything organized and run throughout the year. We'll start with our regular land acknowledgement. So the KWS QA head office is located on the Haldeman Tract, which is land that was promised to the Haudenosaunee people of the Six Nations of the Grand River, and is within the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. We are privileged to be able to live, work, and build our software quality community in this great region. As always, our KWS QA Code of Conduct is in effect for all virtual and in-person meetings. If anything were to happen, you can always reach out to us at info@kwsqa.org or message any of the board members. For full information, it's on our website, but it's pretty straightforward. As always, there's multiple things going on our website at all times. If you are willing to be a mentor for our mentorship program, please sign up. We have so many people looking to be mentored and very few mentors at this point. And we also have, the proposals open for our quality talks or testing games. Purchase your membership or sign up for the mailing list. And then our exciting thing is Targeting Quality 2025. So we've announced before, but we are confirmed for September 22nd and 23rd at the Cambridge Hotel and Conference Center once again. Call for proposals is open right now, closing on April 15th, and our super early bird tickets are also available until the 28th. Also, if you have a 2025 membership, don't forget that you can use your membership code to also get a discount on your Targeting Quality tickets. All right, last piece. After our session today and with all of our quality talks, you will get a survey. The information helps the board to present quality talks that folks actually want to see. And of course, any feedback for our speakers goes directly back to them, which is very helpful for everybody involved. And you can be entered for a chance to win a $50 Amazon gift card, which we draw the name for at our AGM in December. All right. As I said, enough from me. I will hand it over to Jigesh and Mradul to, present Elevate your GenAI-driven testing with long-term memory using vector databases. I will stop sharing and hand it over and go get water.
Awesome. Thank you. And thanks a lot, Bailey. That was a good start. And thanks to the team for creating this testing community and inviting us to present. Jigesh, you want to just pull up the slides, and maybe you can start with your intro and then I can take it over.
Yeah, sure. Let me know once it is visible.
Jigesh, you may have to move to the cover page.
Yep. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Okay, guys, thank you for joining this. And again, before we start with the presentation, I'll start with my intro. So I'm Jigesh. I started my career as a functional tester, then moved into automation. Then I moved into performance engineering. Then I managed a team of like close to 100 odd people. After that, I moved into the development part, and now I'm working on the AI part, which is challenging and interesting at the same time. So as of now, I'm working on agentic AI workflows and few other things that can help the fellow QA folks. Yeah, so that's all about me. Mradul, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot, Jigesh. As my introduction, have been in the industry for more than like 16 plus year. Have background of doing large scale quality engineering transformation, and have been doing core consulting also for throughout my career. Uh, have experience in working with large scale Fortune 500 firms, and also with small startup and standing up their quality engineering practice from ground up. Have taken care of large teams like 100 to 200 quality engineering practice. So have seen all the depth and breadth of quality engineering. Currently leading in the current firm, leading the low code no code practice, quality engineering, and the emerging technology. So looking forward to talk with all of you and bring in our experience and share with what we are seeing in the industry from quality engineering, with the topic that you see, right? Elevate your Gen AI testing with long term memory using vector database. So with that, if Jigesh, if you can move to the next slide. So before I deep dive into this agenda, right, I just want to level set, right? What is our understanding, bare minimum understanding from the knowledge point of view of everyone is what we are seeing in the industry right now is the QAs, this quality engineer, they have been using, and most of them are using GenAI in some shape or form for their quality, for their testing work. What I mean by that, right, is as simple as everyone knows ChatGPT. That is our assumption. Everyone knows what is the basics of LLM. On ground, we have seen people using LLM models, or if I have to simplify, ChatGPT on supporting their work in terms of, if I would have to give an example, right? I have a user story, I supply it to that LLM and ask them, give me the test cases for that. So that is as simple as what we understand everyone is using. What we wanted to do, consider that base, and considering the fast evolving nature of AI, we want to bring in the thought of what you can do further, meaning, okay, you have your public chat GPT, or whatever LLM you have things like creating test case, reviewing test case, and stuff like that LLM can help. How you can take it to a level further, and what we are seeing in industry, and what most of our client are asking for, and we have been implementing with the clients. So what we will do today, we'll deep dive into a where the AI is going, what is the evaluation of QA, what we are seeing is the current state of the QA, what is the future state, what we have been looking at. What are the, I mean, and then we'll go a bit basics into what are the challenges that we are seeing in the traditional testing, how an AI driven testing can eliminate certain challenges, and what the value that AI driven testing will bring. And then we'll touch upon on agentic AI, vector database, LangChain. Again, this all looks heavy. We'll try to make it as simple as possible. The intent here is to get the audience introduced to this topic so that you can take back this as a starting point, research on your end, and then figure out how you can bring the value in your day-to-day work. And then we'll talk about where we are saying AI-driven functional and performance testing. When I say functional, it includes automation as well, and the business impact and the ROI that we are seeing on ground from AI testing. And then what are the future trends? And if you want to implement AI-driven testing, what is a high-level approach that you can use to get started with AI-driven testing? So with that agenda, I mean, if anyone has any questions in between, feel free to drop in the chat. Uh, One of us will monitor the chat and will try to look into how we can best answer your questions. So with that, Jikesh, if you want to move to the next slide. Okay. What we wanted to talk about in this slide, right? There are a lot of heavy words here. I just want to make it as simple as possible. So what do you see on the graph, right? How AI is evolving. If you are keeping in touch with all the AI news, right? The latest buzzword is agentic AI, and that is one step towards like where AI is going, the end goal for AI. Like if you talk about self-driving car, right? We want full self-driving car. Are we there? The answer is no. Similarly, the goal for AI is to achieve artificial general intelligence. What do we mean by that? We mean by that is like it achieves a human level of intelligence. So that is what this graph is showing. So as you move upward to the graph, right, your left hand side is says we started with the world of robotic process automation. You guys may have heard of tools like UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, and whatnot, right? So as we move up, the human touch reduces, and most of the load is given to AI. AI frees up the human time, or human to do the work that is more important in terms of business value, to review and spend their time in not doing the non-efficient or spend the entire time efficiency. So that is what this graph is saying. I'll not get very deep into it, but what we want to say is, as the AI is evolving, it is it is a need of an hour that everyone apart from the QA should start adapting with AI to keep up to that pace. Again, there has been a question, don't quote me here, will AI take our job? The answer to that would be like, if we adapt to AI, you will keep up to that curve. But if we are not using AI, we'll stay behind the race. So with that, like Jigesh, if you can move next, let's talk about like where we are seeing how the QA is evolving, right? So see, the intent of this slide is to show what we are seeing is the current state of QA and what is the future state. Again, this, if you see there is a star on the current state and the future state, this depend from the maturity of client to client and organization to organization. But on the slide, we have three pillars which talks about the functional automation and performance testing. So if I focus only on functional, right? So back in the days, right, I'm talking about what, 10 to 12 years back then. If we include automation in any of the engagement, it was looked as a cherry on the top. And like I remember there are projects like we had thousands, 2000s test cases, and people used to do what, 5 or 10 cases as automation, and it was sounded very fancy. Then we moved toward a phase where, if you guys know, there is a famous 80/20 principle, right? Most of the automation, like the recommendation is you do validation of functionality via API. That is, the 80% of automation should be via API, and UI should be 20% because of the flakiness or the nature of UI being changing. Then the current state, what we are looking at is, there is a lot of functional testing which has been done, but the majority of the testing is supported by automation. And the future state, what we are seeing is, and what we are, and many of the organizations already implementing, the functional tester role is elevated to do the business value driven testing. What do I mean by that? If I am in a business domain, let's assume insurance, right? The focus will be for the functional user to bring the business value and understand domain and test accordingly. Rest of the testing and the task will be taken care by automation, and it will be supported by AI. And if I go to the second row of automation, right? I'll not talk about one and two, but I'll jump to current state. What we are seeing in market right now, there's lot of low code, no code driven automation which is there. You guys may have heard of tools like, mm, there's tool like Test IAM, there's tool like Mabel, all that provides a very low code, no code based automation. So what do I mean by that, right? You provide your test cases, it will convert into initial automation, and which you can take it ahead, and the tools will have self-healing capability and whatnot. So that is what we are seeing. What that is what we are seeing as the current trend, and we know a lot of organization has been building the internal low code no code automation tool, which can be using Selenium on top of uh, there is something called as Selenium, which you can integrate with Selenium, which brings self-healing to your Selenium script. But that is where we are seeing the current state of automation is. What we see in the future, and what we see a lot of organizations have already started on the journey. The future is automation driven by AI agents or digital bots. When I say AI agent or digital bots, meaning from left to right, like from your requirement analysis to dividing the requirement user story into test case, from the test case to convert the test case into automation to defect logging and everything. That workflow, there is a trend on replacing it with by AI agents. Again, there will be need of human in loop. Human will add value on reviewing and looking into if things are good. But as AI will mature, uh, human time will be freed up to bring value from the domain point of view, and the workflow or the repeatable task will be taken care autonomously by with help of AI. Coming to performance, right? I mean, the days where we are doing right now as well, we use any of the performance tool where we mostly performance is API driven. Like, what are the tools? You have tools like K6, you have tool like Load Runner, Storm Runner, and whatnot. There are like JMeter. There are many tools available in the market. They do testing in terms of API. That is still there. That is still required. But there is obviously there is an emphasis on the UI level or performance as well. That has been, again, that is somewhere between two and the current state. But now there is a trend that if you look in automation point of view, or sort of from performance point of view, you may have, if you're deep into performance, there are performance monitoring tool, right? Like Dynatrace, and there are some other tool like Datadog and whatnot. This all brings in, they're all bringing in an AI based root cause analysis. What do I mean by that? Is like when you do your performance run, they bring in value on saying, okay, this is where your, this is the pattern of your defects, this is the pattern of your particular service, particular instance running slow and whatnot. So that is where like the AI based root cause analysis and diagnosis is been getting introduced. Also, there is a lot of emphasis that we are seeing in large scale client facing application or large load bearing application. We are seeing the emphasis on chaos engineering. And again, the good example would be Netflix has built their internal tool for chaos engineering. But what we see in the future, right, is these are all I would say a reactive way of we figuring out where is performance bottleneck and then fixing it. The future is going towards proactive auto healing, meaning there are places like, you guys may have heard of Copilot. Copilot helps lot of developer in doing unit testing, helps in reviewing their code and fixing it. So when I say proactive auto healing, from the start of dev, the code will be performance optimized. But when you go further as well, there will be a lot of proactive healing, considering looking into the historical analysis on how things has been in the past, and your AI can help you in fixing the performance bottleneck as well. And obviously with the advancement of AI, it comes with a lot of analytics and gives you advanced reports, insight, and whatnot. That will be backed up with the production level user analytics as well. Okay, so that is why, like, again, the intent to show here is with 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 AI evolving, this is what the state that we are looking right now. But you never know, right? AI is evolving at a very fast pace. Today, I am saying the current state, there are a lot of people who are not using AI agent, but AI is moving at a very fast pace. 3 months down the line, we may see that AI agents are already embedded in the quality engineering process, and people are using AI agent. So there are things which are changing fast. It's just like we as the quality engineering professional, if we adapt and keep up to that change, things become easy for us. Okay, cool. So with that, right, what I want to do, I want to talk about what are the basic challenges that we are facing in our traditional testing, and what what an AI driven testing can bring in, and what are the advantages that can bring in. And then after that, I'll hand it over to Jigesh to talk about the actual meat of the call on what is the agentic AI workflow, what is vector database, and how we have implemented in couple of places. Okay, so Jigesh, if you can move to the, oh, perfect. So what you see here, right, is this is what is typical. And I mean, I'm pretty confident that you all would have seen this in your day-to-day work as well, right? When I say high maintenance effort, right, if an automation engineer is there, is working with a dev, and dev changes the UI, the automation maintenance effort increases, right? So that is the issue with the current traditional way of quality engineering. Then there are places where we have flaky tests. If if I remember right, like there are like I have written, like back in the days, I have written automation scripts where when I click a button manually once, it works fine. But with script, sometimes it doesn't work even on one click. So you tend to put error handling and loops where okay, you click couple of times and then it will go ahead. And there are chances of that test being fail as well. Then lack of adaptability, slow execution, debugging, limited test coverage. Uh, what happens with we doing manual testing, right? The manual script can cover all the scenario, but can you execute all the scenario? That is a question that is still we cannot answer. But that is also one of the problem. And the last one is the most important one. In traditional testing, there is analysis, but when I say analysis, is analysis of defect, analysis of test case, your test case execution, traceability and stuff like that. It is there, but it's very limited. When we go into the world of AI, AI lives that analysis and gives us pinpointed area where the issues is. It helps us in creating lot of what you say, like if I have to give an example, right? Suppose I get a defect in a production application. I want to figure out, right, what should be the impact of this defect and what should be my regressions put around that defect. In traditional world, it is very manual. I will look into a particular functionality. Okay, this functionality is getting this functionality has a defect. Let me use my judgment and pick up some 10-20 test case around it and do regression. Is that a right way? Again, the answer is yes or no, but AI can help you in giving that analysis and giving you that pinpointed semantics on saying, okay, this is the impacted functionality. This is what you should go ahead and test with. Uh, with that, right? Let me go ahead and talk about what are the AI what is the need of AI driven test cases and how AI can help. So Jikesh, if you can move to next slide. Yeah, and I'll keep it quick here. Okay, I think I would have covered most of it, but if you go from bottom to up, right? Enhanced debugging and root cause analysis. This is what I just spoke about, right? Like AI pinpoint failure and causes with precision. Scalability and efficiency. AI driven automation can help you in smarter test case execution. It can help you in having greater test coverage with limited resources. Reduce human intervention. When we say that this is the future state with AI agentic workflow, it can help in reducing lot of manual effort. But again, there is a piece of manual maintenance as well, so that can help with AI. And intelligent test execution and self healing. Intelligent test execution is all about, like, when Jigesh will talk about vector database, he can talk more about it. But in nutshell, it can help you in defining what is the right test to pick up for a particular scenario, or what is the right test set to pick up for a particular scenario. And self-healing, I think everyone would have heard of when I spoke about tools like Test Time and Mabel. And there are a lot of other tools in the market. They have self-healing capability, meaning if there is an object change on the UI, the tool will try to adapt to that object change and try to figure out from the DOM structure which is the right property or right object for the automation script to pick up from. Okay. So with that, I think in interest of time, we just have 30 minutes, 32 minutes more. Jigesh, you want to talk about agentic workflow? Then let's talk about a bit about vector database and how at a broader level, how we are seeing it has been implemented across, and then we can take it ahead. So Jigesh, over to you.
Sure. So thanks, Mradul, for giving us the detailed insights. Okay. So guys, before we jump on to like the implementation part, right? I want to cover the fundamentals. Okay, so there are three major topics that I'm going to cover. Okay, before we get into the implementation. So the first one is the agentic workflows. Okay, or the agentic AI. Okay, so I mean, if I say like 2020, 21, 22 was all about the AI, right? Traditional AI, right? Okay. After that, it was 23 was all about generative AI, right? Generative AI. 24 was all about generative AI. People were figuring out, they were exploring like, okay, what is Gen AI? How we can leverage Gen AI? How we can use it for our own purpose, right? So, I mean, it was all around that. 2025 and 26 probably would be all about agentic AI. Okay. Uh, but before we go to that, let me just cover the differences, right? So in traditional AI, what happens? I mean, we have a predefined rules, predefined data sets based on which we train our model. Okay, and once we like deploy that model into the production. Okay, the production will, I mean, see, the model will make those decisions based on the data. Okay, the trained data that we have provided. Okay, anything that comes beyond, or I mean that is not covered as part of the data, probably the traditional AI model might not be able to cover, I mean answer that question. Okay, so it's like the traditional chatbots that we had. Okay, whereas Gen AI, right? What is generative AI? Generative AI uses large language models. Okay, so like, yeah, they definitely have a pre-trained data, but one unique capability that they have is self-learning. Okay, so yeah, to a certain point you'll have to train those large language models, but after that it has that capability that it will also auto learn on its own. Okay, uh, based on different inputs that are being provided. So for example, if my LLM is accessed by 100 people, right? So maybe based on the input provided by maybe first 10 people, it will do an auto learn, and then it will apply, or it will give the answer to maybe all the upcoming users. So that is how it works. Now, how is agentic AI different? Okay, when it comes to generative AI. So agentic AI is, I can say, more of all a goal oriented. Okay, so generative AI is more like a content generation. If you want to, I mean, if you are asking, or maybe if you're just giving the input that, okay, give me this details, okay, I want so and so things, so it will do an advanced search, or maybe do an analytical stuff, and it will give you the response. It will generate something, be it either text, be it image, be it video, or if you provide any image or video, it will do the analysis. uh, Whereas agentic AI, okay, it is more of all a goal oriented stuff. Okay, so it's like where, I mean, the entire workflow, or the agentic workflow, it is targeted to achieve a particular goal. So I'll give you a very good example. So GitHub Copilot people might be using. Okay, GitHub Copilot, what it does is, I mean, you can open a window, you can ask, I mean, you can provide your prompts, it will give you the piece of code. Okay, but I mean, the major pain point here is I'll have to still analyze that code. I'll have to copy paste that code into my solution. Okay, so there is still good amount of manual or mechanical work that is involved. Okay, but with the new feature of GitHub Copilot that they've introduced, again, there is still a very limited version, is the agentic flow. So with agentic flow, I'm able to like do things directly. So for example, if I open my solution and if I tell that, okay, this is a p, I mean, I can open a file, I can tell that, okay, add 10 more piece of code, it will go ahead and do this. Change this code, this is, it will do, go ahead and do it. So it will also take up all the mechanical work that you are doing. That is the major difference. So it is, the GitHub Copilot agentic workflow has a dedicated task that, okay, it will help you do a pairwise coding for you, and it will eliminate all the mechanical tasks, mechanical analytical tasks that you are doing. So that is how agentic AI or agentic workflow helps. Okay, so how it does is, I mean, it has three major components. One is the perception. Okay, so that is where, I mean, in the perception component, it will consume what you need. Okay, or what is your input. Then there's a second second component, that is a decision making component. So what it will do is, based on your input, it will arrive at a particular decision. Okay, and the third one is the execution. Okay, so it will go ahead and execute the task for you. So, so that is where it helps you to reduce like a good amount of uh, like the you can say it will help you to gain a good amount of efficiency. Uh, so that is where workflow comes into picture. It still uses LLM, it still uses generative AI, but it is more of a task oriented. So this is one fundamental thing I wanted to cover about agentic AI. Okay. Uh, Again, just give you a, I mean, giving you a recent example. So like few days back, I was developing an application. Okay. I mean, with GitHub Copilot agentic workflow. Okay, I was able to maybe create that application in like a week. Probably if I would have gone, if I would have done via traditional route, it might have taken me weeks or even months to do that. That is the major power of, you can say, agentic AI. Okay.
And Jigesh, just to add, right, on as a QA engineer, right, like if you are using agentic AI or agentic workflow, the major thing that we see in future is from the skill point of view. We as a QA, we bring the knowledge of a domain. You should that will be very critical, which a workflow or a machine may not have. That that is my suggestion, is everyone should keep up to the domain, because the domain is what is the end client look for. And additionally, there will be upskill required on maintaining this agent workflow, what Jigesh was saying. So that will be a skill upgrade that is required across as well. Yeah. Jigesh, over to you.
Yep. Thanks. So yeah, till now we have covered the agentic flow. Now the second component that I want to cover is the LangChain. Okay. So I know most of you might have heard this term. Okay, but how it helps? Okay. Uh, so LangChain is like, say, one of the important AI based framework that helps me to integrate all the different LLMs that we have. Okay, or all the different data sources that we have with the LLMs. Okay, I mean, I'll give you one simple example. Okay, like I mean, everyone uses ChatGPT. Okay, if we ask like, okay, give me the details regarding the city. Okay, I mean, any city, it will give you the details. Okay, uh, but maybe if the data is not present in that, I mean, or if there is a trained data that is not available, probably it might not be able to answer. Okay, or if I want to use a very specific data that I want to integrate with the LLM, I'll not be able to do it. Say for example, if I'm as a QA, right, the first thing that I do is like I analyze the requirement, and based on that I create these test cases. Okay, uh, using ChatGPT, I can just copy paste those requirements. It will give me those test cases, but how detailed they would be, I mean, it's very difficult to answer, because sometimes it might give you detailed, sometimes it might not. But what if I connect my LLM to my data source? Okay, which will give LLM the power to scan through the entire repository. For example, if I'm using a third party, okay, a LangChain, okay, to integrate my LLM and the test management tool, okay, or maybe a database, what it will do is it will help me to uh, it will help the LLM to scan through that test management tools, get all the insights. It will go and search the historical test cases also, and based on that, it will come up with its own pattern, and it will give me more accurate test case. So LangChain is like one framework where you can integrate n number of data sources and number of agents with the LLM, and gives you a more profound result. Okay, so some of the key examples are like, say for example, if you want to like use an intelligent test retrieval, we'll show you that example how we have done, or how we have implemented LangChain, how we are intelligently retrieving the test case. Say for example, if you want to, I mean, if you have a shopping cart application and if you want to search some test cases that are related to shopping or maybe payments, okay, you can just ask, okay, give me the test cases that are related to payment. So what LangChain will do is it will go, it will search through your repository, it will analyze, and then it will give it the result. So that is the power. So it's like a framework that helps you to integrate in between stuff. Okay, so this is about LangChain. I'll also cover the third important topic, that is the vector database. Okay, uh, so I mean till now we have covered this two flow. Now the third one is vector database. Again, this is another fundamental thing that I want to cover. Okay, because I mean when you implement AI, you ensure that you are like taking these three things into consideration, so that whatever I mean whatever applications you're building, or maybe however you are like implementing in the QA, I mean be it functional automation or performance, it will help you to give like more accurate, more profound results, rather than, I mean, just getting like say 50-60% of accuracy. It will, I mean, this is something that will help you to achieve maybe 95% or even 100% accuracy. uh, Again, there will be human in the loop, but still, I mean, it would be much better. Okay, so the third topic that I want to cover is the vector database. So why do we need vector database? Okay, why can't we use our traditional RDBMS or traditional NoSQL databases like MongoDB or something else? Okay, purely because vector database are like are the one there where you can do say something like semantic search. For example, if I have a traditional database, what I'll do, what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to write some queries, okay, or write some inputs, and and I'll get the data based on some exact match. Okay, but what if I want to do some analysis, or maybe if I want to do some thing like syntactical or semantical search. So in that case, vector database is helpful, because see, vector database doesn't store the value in the form of data. It will store in the form of vector embeddings. So vector
So
embeddings is like
Jigesh,
say
if I
yeah.
Jigesh, if I may like
Hmm.
try to explain this with a very simple example, right? So if you guys have worked on SQL databases, right? So suppose in traditional databases that you want to store an image. Suppose that image is mm, of a mountain and a sun and a river flowing through that, right? That from a human eye you can understand that okay, there is a mountain, there is a depth, there is a river, there is a sun, bright and whatnot, whether it is cloudy or not. In a traditional database, what you will do, you will store just that image and some metadata about the image, that this is the size, this is what the image is all about. What happens in vector databases, vector database helps you, and internally you don't it helps you to divide that image information into vector embedding. And that vector embedding, you don't have to do it manually. There are also algorithms available that comes up with the database that helps you to convert that particular form of I would say data or information into vector embedding. And that technically, in terms of, if you think of AI, everything is stored in terms of mathematical information. So vector embedding is one part of information that helps to store information of that image as vector embedding, and which in turns, if I have to tell in a very simple way, gives you all the information of okay, there is a mountain, there is a depth in the mountain, there is a sun, this is where the sun is, this is how bright the sun is, and stuff like that. So if you have to compare two image, it will give you a match of whether this two images exact match or what is the deviation between that. And that is where Jigesh was saying it will give you semantics of, if I have to talk in terms of testing, if you start storing your test cases with all the information in vector database, it will give you a semantic of or logical details of what this test case is about, which feature it is trying to test and whatnot. So that is the power of vector database, and that is why we are emphasizing more on vector database. It is, again, it is not usual that everyone is using, but in world of AI, vector database is technically becoming a heart of storing the data, and it is very critical in places where you are using AI. The data that you input in the AI has to be in good quality so that you get the good quality output. So it's all about garbage in, garbage out. If you give garbage data, you get garbage output. If your data is correct and if it is in detail, you get a right output from AI system, AI models, or whatever you're using. Jigesh, over to you.
Yep. Okay. So thanks, Mradul, for covering the vector database. Okay. So now, I mean, since we have covered these three key topics like LangChain, agentic AI, and vector database, let's see how we have implemented it. So see, there are two, you can say, test types where we have covered these three things. Okay. So first is the automation. I mean, before even jumping into the performance part, I'll straight away jump into the automation because I mean that is something that everyone would be able to relate. Now, the major, I'll start with the problem statement. Okay. So our major problem was like, say, I mean, we were working for a client where, I mean, they had like huge chunk of test cases. Okay, I mean, they had close to around 5,000, 6,000 odd test cases. I mean, that was like across, like, say, multiple releases across years they developed it. And I mean, they wanted to like do say something like a selective testing. Okay, based on like any change request or any defect that I mean that got pushed. Okay, so the major pain point for them was like to manage and maintain this set of test cases, which was a problem. So what we did was we got those 5,000 odd cases. Okay, we dumped it into the vector database, and on top of that we created an application. Okay, like an AI driven application. So what that AI driven application does is it will search that vector database based on the user input. Now consider like you have a shopping cart application. Okay, now for that shopping cart application, okay, there might be multiple flows like for example searching a product or maybe performing a payment transaction. Okay, now if you want to, I mean, if there is a defect, right, that is related to search functionality. So what I'll do is I'll just use this AI application, okay, where I'll just pass the input as, okay, give me the test cases, okay, that are related to uh, search functionality. So what it will do is it will perform that semantic search, okay, I mean, on top of the vector database. But how it will do? It will use agentic AI, it will use LangChain. Okay, so using LangChain, it will integrate with the vector database. It will perform a similarity search. Okay, and it will give me the out. Okay, now you will say, okay, I've used vector database, I've used LangChain. Where is agentic AI into picture? So agentic AI will help me to fine tune this further. So out of the total test cases that is it has retrieved, agentic AI will help me to do that classification, which one are important, which one are not, and it will do that task. It will give it to me. So right now, if I just provide that input that, okay, give me so and so test cases that are related to this defect, it will give me. Okay, and after that we have integrated it with like say live execution systems where when we just select those test cases, we run it. So the major advantage or the major uh, win for us is like for a particular defect. Okay, I'm able to, or maybe for a particular change request, I'm able to validate those 400 500 test cases, not just in days, within hours, because we have implemented say something like serverless execution which will run all those 400 test cases together. So it's like a smart regression strategy that we have applied here. Okay, and this was all possible because of these three things. So this is how we have implemented I mean this three things in automation. Now I'll jump onto the performance part. So again for performance, right, uh, like since it's again for the same client, we had this problem where, I mean, they had like a very high traffic, okay, during a particular year. I mean, during the Christmas days. So where, I mean, the application was seeing a lot of traffic. Okay. Now we wanted to analyze like how, I mean, for which days or which month we are seeing the traffic, or what are those key workflows that are causing this slowness. Okay. So the major pain point for us was like, okay, how can we scan through the production logs? Okay, so scanning through that was again major issue. So that is where we used this concept of LangChain plus VectorDB, where we created an AI application which will interact with the DB, and it will give us that result based on the user input. But here we have added a layer called as pre-trained model. So we had something like a pre-trained set of queries which will search and it will give the result. So that is how we implemented this three things: agentic AI, LangChain, and vector database to simplify the task we had for automation and performance. Okay, so I know I mean we had I mean done enough of talking. So before we move on to the next slide, I'll just pause for like a few seconds for any questions or anything we want to discuss. Or maybe if you want, we can have it after the end of the session. That's also fine.
Jigesh, just a time check. You have 9 minutes.
Yeah. So I'll just again, I mean, we have covered the important parts. I'll just quickly provide a quick walkthrough of the remaining topics, which is like what are the other applications that we
Yeah.
can where we can leverage the AI. Okay, be it agentic AI, LangChain, or vector database. So a couple of use cases that we already told is smart test case retrieval. I mean, that was one of the example that we provided. Now other one is how we can generate our scripts. Okay, uh, like we so here what we can do is we can use AI powered test case generation. So all you need to do is you'll have to just provide the context where you provide your manual test cases and other things to the AI, and then uh, it will give you the output. Okay, the other use case that we have is a self-healing automation. Okay, so imagine like you have a set of automation scripts. Okay, but if your application is not that stable, if your tests are flaky, okay, they might undergo a lot of changes. So that is where you can apply self-healing automation. You can use agentic AI where it will keep on checking, it will keep on validating what is happening. Okay, if there is a failure, how we can fix the failures and all those things. Okay, there's another thing that where AI can be very powerful is the test data generation. So AI, I mean, with AI, you can like generate a lot of data. So, I mean, one of the key things that we are working is we are just providing the screenshot. We are providing like, say, for example, for any screen, right, that gets newly developed. What we do is we provide the screenshot, we provide all those details around that screen, and based on that, it will generate the data. So that helps us to do like a component or UI level of testing for it. So this is about automation. The other use cases that we have for performance also, it's like data analysis. I know data analysis is like a very you can say key topic, because for any type of testing, be it performance, load, uh, or maybe functional testing, data analysis is very important, because you might have to do defect analysis, you might have to do workload analysis. All those things comes into picture, and that is where AI is helpful. Because I mean for me, okay, the maximum time that I spend is during analysis, and if that can be done by AI, definitely it will give me a lot of efficiency. So yeah, data analysis is one of the is most important part. Then like load test scripting. This is something that I mean that is going to be a game changer going forward, because like a lot of the tools are adopting to it. So all you need to do is you'll have to just scan through the application and it will help you to develop the script. So that is other use case that we have. Yeah. So this is all about performance testing. And again, with this, I mean, you'll be able to gain a lot of efficiency. I mean, a lot of business benefits, like it will help you to reduce your cost. Uh, and again, it will, with human in the loop, it will help you to reduce all the mechanical tasks or analytical tasks that you're performing. Yeah. So again, in the interest of time, I'll just switch over to, I'll hand it over to Mradul to cover the future trends part.
Yep, cool. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Jigesh. Uh, before I go to the future trend, I want to hold here and ask like if anyone has any questions. I know this is a lot of things which is a heavy topic, but anyone has any questions, anything like you have doubt about or don't think of any question, like if you have any simplest question as well, we're happy to answer. So I'll take a pause and we have 5 minutes and then like again this this is our last slide, but I want to give an opportunity for to anyone like if they have any questions, we would be happy to answer.
I'll ask something. So
Yep.
something that was on my mind as
Mhm.
you were going through the presentation is that you've presented a lot of really great sort of aspirational things for people to work
Yes.
towards. But I was wondering, in case there's people in the audience who maybe aren't using AI at all in their
Yep.
testing today, just sort of like, what are some small ways to get started on a potentially much longer journey to get to some of the things that you two have talked about, which are
Yep.
more sophisticated and complex. But
Yep.
I'm seeing now on this last slide that maybe the adoption strategy side of it is kind of getting at that.
Yep.
So I wouldn't mind if you take a few moments to maybe just, yeah, tips
Yep.
for like
Top.
little things to do. Like, let's say if all somebody has is access to ChatGPT, what could they do just as one small
Yep.
experiment to start them down their path?
Awesome. I think Tina, I think you hit the right nail and segue into this slide, but exactly to that point, right? What you're seeing on this slide, I'll not drain this slide, but anyone who is, let's assume they are doing functional testing on day-to-day basis, right? And our theme and motto is if you want to get into AI, start small. Like, and as you mentioned, right, chat gpt is available to everyone, but I'll put it in an asterisk. If you're using chat gpt, please be cautious on not using your client data, not using anything which is confidential to your client. That is very risky because that is available to everyone. There are ways where firms are implementing their private LLM. They are using APIs from OpenAI. They are using APIs from Bedrock, Gemini, and whatnot. And they are using that LLM, which is the data remains very much close with them. Having said that, with that asterisk, if let's assume you are doing day in day out, you're writing test cases. You get typical quality engineering, you get user story, you read the user story, you write test cases, right? What chat gpt can help you as well, as simple as you supply the user story to chat gpt and try to supply a couple of screenshot of your ui as well if you have the ui ready, and ask chat gpt or any of the llm to give you test cases, and you if you will see the results will be amazing. Couple of tips there is, I would suggest everyone to read about prompt engineering if they are using chat gpt. As simple as that, right? If you are a test lead, right, if you want to review the test cases, the best practice is tell the llm or chat gpt or any of the tool that you're using that what is your role. So you can start with, as a test lead, I want you to look into the test case, review the test case, and help me like how it can be enhanced further, and give as much as detail as much detail as possible. So that helps the LLM, because the LLM is trained on the data which is across available, wide data available across the internet. So that helps to narrow down the LLM to say, okay, this is your role. And internally, what happens is neural network can define on that role what I need to take action on. So that is one thing that you can start with. The other thing is if you are an automation engineer, right? The open AI, and I'm sticking with chat gpt, but this is applicable to any of the llm. may you see Llama, Bedrock, or Gemini. All of the big hyperscaler, they gives you the API for all of their LLM. So if you are an automation engineer, try to use that API in your automation, and you will see that your automation is turning around to be like very efficient. As simple as you have your set of test cases, use OpenAI's API in your automation. I'm not asking you to use ChatGPT. You can use that as well. But with that API connection, if you're writing, let's assume Selenium script in Java, you can give prompts in your automation API itself that I have this test case, convert this into Selenium test case with XYZ, whatever is your condition. It can help you to create the test cases as well. What we were talking today is a step next. What we are seeing in future is all about how to enhance and take it forward using vector database, using the future of agentic AI, what Jigesh talked about, LangChain, which is a framework of connecting everything together. That is the next part. But the intent of this session is to introduce everyone with all that words, so that once you start with small on taking help from generative AI on doing your test case creation and whatnot, what is the next step and what is the path forward, so that you can learn more. And obviously, like right now, internet is a place where if you know the right keywords, right words, what you want to learn, you can Google it, search it, and learn and increase your skill set. So I know we are right at time. I'll not drain this slide, but on behalf, like I would like to thank everyone for listening to us, and the team here to create that community and providing us an opportunity to share our thoughts with the group.
Awesome. Thank you both for coming and presenting for us today. As I mentioned earlier, the feedback survey will come out later this afternoon. So, if you get that in your inbox, please feel free to fill it out. And we'll make sure that all of the feedback gets passed along to our great presenters. And thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
you.
Have a good day.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Bye.